Well, there's no getting around it. This was a weird experience. I mean, here's a guy who I'm going to refer to as DD from now on because I just don't like saying his nickname. It's just too apropos. He comes up with this lovely idea of winning the money that his pal, his editing pal, and cameraman and so on owes on his school loan, and he makes it with change, with some spare money left over, enough to pay for more than a few good lunches and dinners and so on, and then he blows it. And you know, it's just when people do things like this, it's very difficult to understand. And as I often say in these presentations of mine that nobody's watching, I'm a gambler. I've always been a gambler, but I have at least tried to be careful. I had an aunt who was an inveterate uh, horse race bettor. Um, she loved her GGs. And from an early age, I was fascinated to. I mean, I even used to run her bets, you know, from time to time because she was getting a little bit wobbly in her old age, especially after a few Worthingtons. And so I would run down to the bookies with, mainly to collect money because she had an account with them, so she didn't have to worry about me taking money, but I'd have to bring money back. And it was just a part of life, and that's how I grew up. I used to play blackjack or pontoon, as we called it in school, from the age of about 9 or 10. Loved it. Carried on playing that for years and years. There's an English gambling game called Brag, which is, sort of like the guy who claims to have invented three-card poker actually just ripped off Brag, which is a three-card game, and it's deadly. And I used to play that all the way through my teens and early 20s. It was a big part of life at the Press Club in Birmingham, in England. And so I am a gambler. But in the years that I lived in Nevada, I just saw so much damage done, so much harm, so much serious, serious misery. And yeah, the casinos always like to say, we don't hold a gun to anybody's head. We're not forcing anybody to place a bet. We don't tell them when to bet, where to bet, what to bet on, how much to bet. We just step back and let them get on with it. And that of course, is the argument that drug dealers can use. We don't force them to buy drugs. We don't make them overdose. So, I mean, it's anyway. All I can do is just present this for you. Take it or leave it, like it or hate it, whatever. I'm putting my email address in the end of all of these presentations now, because I'd certainly like to get feedback in addition to the comments that occasionally come in at the bottom of each new video. But let me know. Don't send any shitty messages. Don't tell me that I'm mad, because I'm just not. What you're going to witness here, or if you follow the click and go to his session, and I'll put that in the description underneath this. There is where you'll see madness. That's where you'll see astonishing stupidity. With all due respect, DD, I'm sorry, but hey, yeah, I get that this is a hobby horse of mine, and that it's just something that the vast majority of gamblers don't even think about. They just look at a new game and the flashy layout and the bright colours and the so-called special extra bets that they get. There's a thing called double down madness, and madness is the operative word in there, but madness not on the part of the house for sure. That's on the part of anybody who's dumb enough to sit down and put real money on the table at any one of those games. But anyway, it is a hobby horse. I get that, but really, these games are tough enough to beat without this kind of nonsense. What I was trying to do there was to switch to the next slide, and it wouldn't let me. There it is. Okay, so there we are. These are just the busted dealer 22s, blah, 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 blah. And I'm done for a bit. So thanks for listening, if you have been. Yeah, this was a seriously tricky, difficult uh, session to process. Not because I question Degen Dolt's right to do whatever the hell he wants to with his money. I mean, obviously he has that right. It belongs to him, etc., etc. It's just that he had so many incredible opportunities in this session, and basically it was in his favour almost all the way. I mean, if you look at the red line chart, the flat betting chart down the bottom here, that tells you more than this one does, because this one tells you what the actual value is, whereas this simply, sort of just tracks the patterns. Patterns are something that I'm very concerned about because they're essential to the strategy that I've developed. But it's always useful to know exactly where things are going. And as you can see, it was down for the first little bit and then bang, way up. And that was about 11 minutes in. And he was at his target. He had money. He had about 8,000 with extra bets as well as his left hand bets combined. Keep in mind, please, that I only track first base bets or the left hand bets, but thanks to this gentleman, I have now added in the online reality tab, I've added extra bets, and it turns out that Mr. Dolt, I struggle with his nickname Degen because I just think it's for a long time when he would flash by on the screen, I'd read Degen and think, boy, that's a weird name, because of course being quite a bit older than him, Degen is not a word I'm familiar with or care about very much. I don't like the sound of it, but anyway, he's chosen to fess up to being degenerate, and good for him if it makes him feel better. But now I've completely lost my drift. This happens, this will happen to him when he gets a little bit older. He'll start losing his way. He looked a bit that way actually throughout this session, but that's something else. Apparently he hadn't slept for 32 hours or something like that. Anyway, just to get down to the nitty gritty, pattern betting won nearly 10,000. Exposure was 3,200. Total action was 65,600. So the win was a 15% hold, roughly speaking, of total action. The average win was 443. For pattern betting, this is. The average loss was 319. That's an advantage of 39% average win over average loss. As I say in all these in all these demos, it is essential to use progressive betting to enable you to make sure that you win more when you win than you lose when you lose, because blah, 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 blah. But most people just don't get it. And I don't know why, because it really isn't hard. And I've even got this little tab down here, back of an envelope, because that shows the whole thing. I mean, like if you go to 100% here, then you've got a hold which is exactly identical with the house advantage. If you go to 105% here, things get better. If you manage 110%, better yet. If you get to my target, which I have no control over, but that's what I like to see, 125%, then you're looking something like that. And in this particular example, we had 139%. And look at that, by golly. We got a 15% hold in this little thing here, and 14.9% was what we achieved with Degen Dolt's session. But to go back to the top, um, the actual advantage, the player edge, was steady pretty much throughout the whole thing. There were lots of ups and downs, but if you start here and you go up to here, there's definitely a line that shows a player edge. It was 2.1% in the end. There were 16 doubles altogether, and they paid really good money, but only to pattern betting because Degen, God, I'm gonna start calling him DD. I can't stand it. All right, sorry, mate, but that's how it is. If you look at pattern betting here, repeated turnarounds, which are the OKs, and we go down and we see more and more and more and more and more, and down we go. Then you go down to his tab, and you've got 1, 2 turnarounds. Is there another one later? Yes, 3. And then that's it. So I mean, he was in the toilet because he was all over the place. I mean, his betting was erratic, illogical, self-damaging, suicidal, stupid, any words that you care to use. 166 bets in all, taking out the washes, the pushes. His spread was 100 to 2,500, 25 to 1. My spread was Algie's spread was 25 to 5,000. Which is 200 to 1. That's the kind of level that you need. Average win over average loss. Well, he actually did manage a very slight advantage of 105%, and for Algie it was 144%. He ended up winning 1,700 on his first base bets only, the left-hand bets. But he then, what did he do over here? I think these are the extras over here. He lost 1,550 on his multi-hand bets, which knocked him down to a win of 150. And I think that was about the size of the dealer tip that he gave away very generously, which was nice. Good to take care of the dealers, but of course they all run Bentleys and live in 5-bedroom houses with boats outside. No, they don't. Well, just kidding. No, I mean, a good dealer is just a blessing. Let's face it. If you've got a really nice dealer, somebody who gives the impression, at least, that they're on your side, that's worth rewarding. There is no doubt about that. This all needs to be brought in a little bit to just tidy it up. Yeah, I can't get it all the way in, I don't think. Maybe I can. Yeah, probably if I do that. Pull that in a bit more. Yeah, you can see the extra bets. An extra 30,850 in action and a loss of 1,550, leaving him, as I said, with 150 to give away to the dealer, and good for him. Shocking stuff, really, because he did get very well ahead at one point. I guess for the left-hand bets, it was here. And for the other bets, I would imagine the story must be that at this point, he was well ahead with his extras. Yeah, he was. You see, that's it. So he was... sorry that you have to see me going through this, but it's just part of the process, So he was ahead a total of 9,000 at this point with his extras and his first base bets. And he just, I don't know, I mean, this is where his name comes from, I guess. I mean, he just obviously thought, okay, so I've set a target. My editor owes 7,500. in school loans, so I'm going to win that. And then he does it, and then he blows it all. I mean, how else can he be described other than degenerate? I mean, that's just mad. Well, I suppose he could be described as stark, staring, batshit, bloody bonkers, but that might be a little bit rude. Anyway, let's go back up the top here. Here you're looking at what pattern betting, what algae thrives on, which is, all of these, and the ups definitely outnumber the downs, not by very much, but it's there, it's real. Over here you've got just a sample of a sample turnaround, 8 losses, 4 wins, managed to win 675. The indicated loss was 3,650, and I think there's another one a bit lower down, nearly at the bottom. 8 losses, 5 wins. Indicated was a loss of 2,025. We actually won 1,550, and that's how it goes. Something that was really great for DD was that he supplied me with a whole load of dealer 22s, because the dealer was busting at 22. I mean, I think I collected 7, and I don't suppose that was all of them. I suddenly woke up and I thought, whoa, there's another dealer 22. So then I just snapped them. And, if I've done things right, they will be before this summary in the online presentation, in the demo package. So you will have seen them already, but they would have cost him, if the dealer had pushed instead of paying, they would have cost him about 10 grand. And this is all part of my campaign. I just want my 3 or 4 regular followers to just come along with me to the realization that anybody who plays a game that allows a push with a dealer 22 is certifiable and certainly suicidal. It is madness. So the things you don't do with blackjack: don't play 6 to 5 blackjack, don't play dealer pushes, don't play we've taken out all the 10s, that's the 1-0s rather than the kings, queens and jacks, but the actual number 10s. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. And I have yet to find any acceptable proof that card counting works. But one thing that's sure is that you take all the 10s out of a 6-deck shoe, you are making it that much harder, probably a little bit more than twice as hard for the player to win. Now, with pattern betting, that doesn't matter that much, because you're not looking for long-term trends. You're looking for little bursts. You're looking for yin and yang, ping and pong, ebb and flow, back and forth, and so on. Up and down, in and out, whatever. So this is why we will constantly get these turnarounds that you see here. Every single horizontal green shaded line there is a turnaround, and there were a lot of them. In terms of what do we see? The maximum bet that we had was 5,000. That's pretty decent. Did we do any dropping? I don't think we did we? Yeah, we did. No, we didn't. Oh, yeah, we did. Anyway, the main question is, does pattern betting work? Yes, it does. Does the DD method work? No, it doesn't. Pretty much end of story, really. And just to revisit that okay, 105 was what he did. Should have helped him, but of course with his betting being all over the place, this is a flat betting representation here. I mean, I'm sure that smart people like you get the picture. There it all is. And let's put it back to 100. Go up to the top. There he is. His collar and tie. And there is the nitty-gritty, the bottom line, where the rubber meets the road, etc., etc. Thanks for your time.